Sairam, everyone.
Saira.
We will just recollect what we discussed before uh, we left last week. We were talking about, or Swami was talking about Devamsha Sambhutas. He was telling that there's a category of um, jnanis, people who are in their path or they're closer to the full state of a jnani, that they also exist in this world, that they come with certain attributes of divinity to serve the world. That is where we left off. And I think we discussed in various ways to understand how that's Devamsha Sambhutas are different from Amsha Avataras and so on. We realized, I think what was discussed was that there is some subtle difference between Amsha Avataras and Devamsha Sambhutas. Amsha Avataras come from above with only certain attributes for a particular purpose, whereas Devamsha Sambhutas are Atman which are trying to move up, and they are still left with some uh, few karmas or few samskaras, as Swami says, which have to be worked out. And that's where we were. So with those words, I think we can continue, sisters. Yeah.
Bhakta, why should this difference arise, Swami? Swami, it arises out of each one's sadhana and sankalpa. Eat a mango and you belch its smell. How can you prevent it? The belch brings the perfume of the thing eaten. Bhakta, will such men too have limitations, upadhis? Swami, without upadhis, how can work get on? They too have it, but only in a subtle form, until they attain transcorporeal mukti, Vaideha mukti. Bhakta, what is that, Swami? Swami, their acts are like the line drawn on water, seen while the line is being drawn, absent as soon as it is finished. While being done, you notice it. In an instant, it is not noticeable anymore.
Thank you very much, sister. So the Bhakta has this question: uh, why is this so? This Devamsha Sambhutas also come, and Swami had said, they have something left. So then the devotee is asking, why is it so? How can that be? Because they have already realized that they are Atman. They have some divinity, but there's still something left. How can it be? And so Swami is giving the example of eating a mango, and the belch is a natural phenomenon which comes, and it cannot be anything different than the mango. Then the devotee is asking, will they have upadhis? Or they have upadhis means anything which is layered, which is something which is put on. Do they have upadhi? Also limits one. It's like the body. Once we have taken the body has its own limitations. So do they have limitations? Is the question which the devotee is asking, because upadhis also create attachment of certain kind also. But Swami goes on to say, in this world, for us to function, upadhi is needed, a form is needed. But the link, Swami says, is the translation is subtle here, but Swami says it's sukshma. So sukshma can also means it's very thin. It is so light, so subtle in the sense it is so not so firm. So the thing is, it is just there, and when it's done, it's gone. And then Swami goes on to, the devotee is asking, can you explain? So he says, it's like drawing on water. So as you draw on the water, you will see that there's a line. But as the finger moves on, the line doesn't disappears completely. So he says that is the way the Devamsha Sambhutas act in this world. That when something they are doing, it does not leave anything permanent within themselves. This is what I understand. So I will stop here and I will open it up for discussions. The others can share your thoughts, please, Sai.
Just a question about the last paragraph. So the line being drawn on water, does that mean like their actions don't have any, I guess, karma associated with them, or they don't develop any likes or dislikes, those kind of things?
Yes, that's my understanding, sister. Because it does not leave anything in the heart, in the chitta. See, they don't carry that baggage. There's no baggage which comes out. I think in today's modern term, they will say zero footprint. You know, we say if whatever we do, there should be zero footprint. So it is, that is what I understand, Sai. Others can share your thoughts, please, Sai.
So
Sorry,
this answer.
I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Kaljani.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. So in the previous paragraph, the Bhakta asks about what is Vaideha Mukti, and then Swami gives this as the answer. I'm just still a little confused. Like, what does the word Vaideha mean?
Okay, so it's actually it's pronounced Videha. So the Videha is one without the body, liberation without the body. So it basically means it is the person is completely detached. There's absolutely no identification with the body. The body is considered completely separate from that person, and that is so you know there. I think I'll leave it at that. So until that complete disconnect with the body exists, the person has not attained that Videha Mukti. So there is some small link which connects the Atman to that body or the mind and so on. Okay. So everyone in this world, it's also believed that one who has reached Videha Mukti, the body will drop automatically within a few days. Until then, so it's a very short period. Many people feel Videha Mukti means one who has dropped the body and left. But that body drops only when they will. When they are completely detached, the body will naturally leave. So that's my understanding, Saira.
So is that the same as like a Jivan Mukta?
So I think we are getting into very technical details, I would say. Jivan Mukta is one who is liberated while alive. Okay. Actually, if you go a few little later, Swami more or less uses them synonymously. If you go to the next slide, so you will find that. So Jivan Mukta means one who is fully liberated, but he's alive in this world. Even the Devamsha Sambhutas, or actually the avatars, I would say Jivan Muktas, if you want to use that term. Because even when they're alive, they're actually completely detached from the body. There's absolutely no link, because at will they can leave. Because that's my understanding. Okay. But okay, Saira. But they take on limitations intentionally. Saira. Others can share, please. It is not just my thought, but Saira.
So, Sairam, brother. So their acts are like the line drawn on water. That is an important thing because of they are in the world, they don't take anything serious. Even if they get anger, it's like the line is being drawn on the water. They forget in a second. But the anger also we can experience in our world. Some people like drawn in the sand. it's going to remain on few minutes. But some people anchor is like drawn in a stone. Some people anchor in the steel. So steel mean for a lifetime. So they cannot achieve any goal. So they have to practice the line drawn on water in their actions too. Thank you, Brother Saira.
Thank you very much, brothers. Thank you.
Sairam, I would like to say something about these two things. That, and here the line drawn actually, as discussed by Kalyani and brother. So there's no zero print. So no impression in the chitta. So it will not create another birth. So it is niskamya karma. No attachment at all. So it doesn't have any imprint or impression on the chitta. So it will not carry any. It cannot be carried. It won't carry forward, and there's no birth for that. So, and in regard to brother explained very nicely about the Videha Mukti. So many people usually think that Videha Mukti means that the last thing, it is attained once the body is left. When the body fell down, they say, oh, he attained Videha Mukti. That's a usual interpretation. But brother explained correctly, because even while in the body, they can completely detached from the body aspect, mind and everything. So, as brother said, they cannot live for long, and the body falls. And when the brother, to make us understand, he explained about the Jivan Mukta. He has compared the avatars just for the sake of understanding. But it is good for us to understand, so he used it. But in any case, we will not use the word Jivan Mukta for avatars, simply because they were not Jivan. We are Jivan, so we say they are ascending. We are ascending, they are descending. So we ascend to the jnana state, and they descend to the human level. So ascension and descension. So Jivan Mukta, the word used in the religious text only for people who are like us, born with karma. We took birth to work out our karma. So when we worked out the karma well, then we began Jivan Mukta. So Jivan Mukta, and as Kalyani said, what is the difference between the Videha Mukta and Videha Mukti and the Jivan Mukta? Because the both are coinciding, we come very closer to each other. So I think this we can wait, as brother said, we can wait for some time and we'll go to the other pages. Only I wanted to say here is, the brother explained it to understand the state of avatars, or partial avatars, amsa avatars, or full avatars, but the religious text will not use the word Jivan Mukti ascribed to avatars. That's what I feel it. Okay. Just to clarity, I just mentioned it. Thank you, Saira. You can correct. Anybody can correct. Brother can correct.
Thank you very much, brother.
Sairam, it's a wonderful explanation and everything. But in the the first questions to Bhakta, Swami explained and maybe elaborated with the mango story. I thought when you eat a mango, that smell, it's a very strong smell, strong in the sense, you cannot hide from anyone. That sort of very strong smell. So that sort of maybe karmic patches or karma, attached to you as an individual, then Swami talks about these Videga Muktas and the Jivan Muktas. But I thought from the first answer, when you eat a mango, when you do an action, it would bring out the karma, and how if you have karma, how how maybe an individual cannot be having any limitations. Then Swami goes on to explain about the Videga Muktas or even Muktas. So that the mango story, that's only to explain the Videga Muktas, or it's an ordinary people. Maybe it's some sort of the clarification, or that would be helpful, because I thought myself, anyone, when they eat a mango is like an example. If you do an action, that would bring the karmic patches. So you have to, good or bad, you have to face that consequence. But later on, Swami says, those Videga Muktas, or they closer to the Mukti stage people, their acts are like the line drawn on water, so it wouldn't bring any karmic patches. And I thought a little bit of unclear to me what Swami tries to tell us about these three sets of question and answer. Maybe for me, it's kind of a little unclear. Thank you, Saira.
Anyone who would like to share your thoughts, please?
Saira, actually, the mango story came to explain the Devamsa Sambhudas. Devamsa Sambhudas had one or two traits or desire. Usually, it is for the good of the world. And when they did their sadhana, they meditated. When the meditation, they had an intention, oh, I will get successful in the meditation, and using that energy, I will serve the society. So, because of that, their intention was there in their sadhana, they had this trait. If they did the meditation completely, not expecting nothing, and they are jnanis, full jnanis, and here they had an intention, a good intention in their sadhana. So that is why they are born now. The next birth they are born as Devamsa Sambhudas. So the trait is there, their intention is there. So there's an imprint in the chitta. So they have to work out. So they will be working out. And once that desire, the good desire is fulfilled, then they are free to leave the body and they get the maximum mukti state. So when this is Anandi, when you can compare this to if the mango story is taken to that to explain that part, and your questions will be clear, I think. So if you are not satisfied, we can discuss further. Brother can discuss further. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please? So I guess I will just attempt, I think Brother Sivadas has already explained, but I will give a couple of other examples and try to discuss according to my understanding. See, Swami has used the word Videha to a couple of people. He says Janaka, who was the king of Mithila, was a Videha. Means even though he lived in this body, he did not have any attachment to the body. That's why he was called Videha. And because of that, Sita was called Vaidehi. Means she was also not attached to the body. So, but no one was using the word, she is not a Mukta, we never said. We chose Vaidehi. That means she lived without the body. That's what it basically means. But she lived. So the thing is, the way we identify the body and how avatars will identify body is slightly different. Just to illustrate another example is if you go to universities, okay, if you are in the master's program or in a graduate program or a bachelor's program, sometimes there are lecturers who are not students coming and teaching. Sometimes there are postgraduate students who become teaching assistants. They also come and teach. For a person who doesn't know the distinction, both of them are teachers. But in reality, one set of teachers, the teaching assistants or postgraduate students are coming there to get they know very well that they have not passed. They are still in the final stages of learning. They have to qualify themselves and get the degree. But they also come and teach. Their knowledge may be almost similar to the professor who comes and teaches. The professor does not have any compulsion to come and teach, except for the salary. But the postgraduate student has to teach because if that teaching is part of the course. Okay, so they are doing research so that they can present the thesis and get the degree. But the professors also do research. A lot of difference. So we should understand that the postgraduate student has still not learned the subject fully. There may be some concepts which are still being almost there. So that studentship means a person in the process of attaining mukti. So to attain mukti itself, first you should have moham or delusion or ignorance. So that person is trying to get over that ignorance. Whereas when the professor comes and teaches in the same class, the professor is not coming because he needs liberation. He is personally taking on a role to come and teach. So that is the distinction between avatarhood and Daivamsa Sambhudas. Why is Swami talking about all this is, even though we are, we may be in elementary school or high school, it's good to know how this process goes. Everyone gets counts, they would come and do, if you are in high school, they will come and say, you get a tour of the university, what can you do, what are the subjects you can learn. So you understand what is this path, a progression towards full attainment. So the word mukta itself is not used for avatars because they never had, but sometimes it is loosely used. That means even though they are not attached to the body. This is my understanding. I hope that sort of clarifies some of. So why should we know all this means? Because we are curious. If you're going to take a course, we don't know where it's going to lead. When will we become professor? When will we become a postgraduate student? All these questions will be there. So once we know this is the path we are entering into, then with confidence, we will start on the journey and progress slowly. This is the whole idea, is my understanding. So Swami is just laying out the path. just giving a small map. So we know, okay, these are the mileposts we are going to see. But then if I am a student, bachelor student, if I am instead of studying my subject, if I come to, this person is a postgraduate, how much does he know? How much doesn't he know? The reality, the person knows more than me. So if we engage in that, it becomes a problem, is my understanding. I hope I hope I didn't confuse anyone more.
No, it's a very good explanation. Thank you so much, brother. And brother Sivadas and Kalyani also started with this one. Then I thought about that one. Now it's clear to me. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, so if there are no comments, we can move on, if it's okay.
Right. I remember that I was a little bit connected with you. And yes, that Atma is going through that several births. So that according to our karma, that some Atma is going to high level. Because of that desires that birth and death is happening, the reason of the desires. If anything, that small desire, we have to come back. That's the rules of the karma. That. And Swami has said one small story about it. And there was a army man working in the army, and he was died in before his retirement, and he has a family that he had a son and daughters, and his wife was very hardly. They brought up these children, and the son was born up. He's grown up, and he is ready to work for. At the time that army was offered him that job, so before he get a job, he thought that he go to that Balaji temple. And then he went there. That there. Without his family, he went alone there. That there he died, and the mother was expecting the son is come back. He never come back, and she was a Sai devotee. At the time, so I was asked her to come to the Puttaparthi in the train. She went there, and so I was calling for the interview. At that time, she was crying to Swami that Swami said about his son, and Swami said, I know all the stories. And if you want to see your son, what happened to him, then he said yes. So Swami saw his hand. In the hand, that boy was going to that bath in that temple. Yeah, and he fell in that what is that curry, that bathing place. He died there. And after that, he died. That his Atma is come out from his body and go to that Balaji statue and merge with that. The Balaji was after the change in the Swami. That says the Swami and Balaji the same. And Swami said he was previously he was a very high jnani, and he has an idea. He was that not fulfilled. This was that he wanted to take the bath in that holy bath in that Balaji's temple Kearney. That's not fulfilled. That's why he come back, and after his desire was fulfilled, and he went back. There, I think this is that the main thing is without fulfilling that desire, they just come back again, born again, and after they fulfill that desire, they can go back to merge with God. I think that is this is that example I can tell. Thank you, sir.
Sairam, brother, Sairam. So if there are no other comments, we can proceed, Sister.
Bhakta, Swami, you said that a jnani has renunciation as his hallmark. How does this agree with that? Swami, that is true. Renunciation is his hallmark. If, out of the traits of previous births, he gets attached, he must know that it is only for the body and not for him. This attachment damages the bliss of Jivan Mukti. Jnana is most important for Videha Mukti. Bhakta. Even if one has no jnana, can one attain mukti by mere vairagyam, renunciation? Swami. What a foolish question. How can the fruit be sweet without ripening? Vairagyam cannot arise except from jnana. There is no moksha without vairagyam. Be sure of that.
Thank you very much, sister. So I think just a couple of points I would like to make here. In the translation, so I think if you look at the first sentence, the question of the Bhakta, Swami, you said Jnani has renunciation as its hallmark. That's the sentence. I don't personally agree with the translation of use of the word renunciation. The word which Swami has used is vairagya. So I think if we stick to that, it will mean much more. So Jnani's hallmark is vairagya, which is vairagya means it's complete detachment. And then the Swami goes on to say, yes, vairagya is the real sign of a jnani. But what happens is, if the jnani had certain traits, as Brother Rajagopal was mentioning, there may be some sankalpa, some thought, unresolved thought, or some attachment even. If that exists, the jnani should know for himself that this attachment only relates to the body or the mind. It relates only to the body. That jnani is not attached to the jnani himself. Because he says, Swami says, if that is not there for the jnani, it will cause problem for his own state of bliss. Okay, even while alive, being a liberated person, there is a joy which comes out of it that will be tainted by any such small desire even. But he says, to attain Videha Mukti, that's complete detachment with the body, jnana is an ingredient, special, necessary thing. Then the Bhakta is asking, Swami, can we get vairagyam? Just by vairagyam can we get liberation? Is jnana really necessary, is the question from the Bhakta. That even if we don't have jnana, can we get detachment? And for that, Swami says, you foolish one. Actually, Swami uses the word pichivada, means madcap. Okay. In Tamil, you'll say paithyam or visar, something like that. She says, how can a fruit become ripe, without going through the process of ripening? So Swami says, vairagyam can come out of only jnana, only by knowledge. Knowledge in the sense jnana, that you are not the body, you are the Atman. Only through that, real detachment comes. That's what Swami says. And detachment is essential for attaining moksha. So I have stopped here. I thought, I'll just make a few remarks. I will open it up for any discussion. Everyone can share what you all took away from that side.
Just one question. So in this paragraph, Swami is saying that vairagyam is the end product, and jnana is sort of the process of ripening. In the Dhyana Vahini, we were also learning about vairagyam, viveka vairagyam, and others as almost as a prerequisite. So how do we kind of reconcile those two things?
The reason, okay, maybe I will open it up for others to comment before I comment. So anyone who would like to share your thoughts, please. So this is very simple. Here Swami says the final stage is Vairagyam. Okay. Whereas in the Dhyana Vahini, the 4 qualifications for a bhakta, the path of spirituality is Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, and Mumukshatva.
Yeah.
It's the 4 laid down. So Sister Kalyani's question is, if this is the end product, how can it be a prerequisite also? I think I hope I rephrase the question. Okay, sister, just to clarify my own understanding of your question. So I will open it up for others to share. What do you think? You know, what is your understanding of this? Thank you.
So, Sairam, brother. So first, to understand, realize the divine, we need Vairagya and Viveka. Viveka is the knowledge. Am I the body or not? So from our experience, even Brother Aruna also taught, when he was with the Swami, the comparison now is more understand. The love with Swami, when he was with the mortal coil, now he is not in the mortal coil. Now he has more love with him. The reason is the knowledge, the jnana, that's knowledge. When we are participating in the study circle, we are learning so many things. So our knowledge is increasing. We can understand the viveka, atma visarana, atma vidya. We are increasing to understand our goal. So viveka is very, very important. And the Vairagya Swami is mentioning is a main root that Vairagya you have to practice. The desire is the main cause of attachment, anger, and everything. If you take a tree, if you cut, you don't need, if you want to destroy the tree, you don't need to cut by the leaves or stem or anything. You just remove the root, the desire. Remove the root, then mind will come under control. Once the mind is under control, and you can practice the equanimity too, because it's all depend on that mind. So Vairagya is very important to cut our away from the desire. Once you don't have desire, you are free. Your mind is free. So for that, we need Viveka too. This is my understanding.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
In that sadhana sadhushtayam, that Viveha, Vairagya, Sadguna Sambat and Dhamma Sambat and Mumuksatvam, Baba explained in the Sutravahini that Vairagyam is even for the heaven, even a desire to attain heaven, just Indraloka, heaven. So anything where any desire in this world or the world, the other world, here and hereafter, we should not have any ambition whatsoever. That is the Vairagyam that we need. Anything. So when we do the spiritual sadhana, we have to have that aim. I am not asking anything. Any good in this world or in the world after. That is a Vairagyam. Yeah. And here Baba is saying that suppose the person, the jnani, suppose he has a desire, even some iota of desire. For example, he wants a pillow. He's about to leave the body, and he used to have a pillow under his head. And if he feels, let me have a pillow, my pillow, even small desire, he cannot get that. Even a very iota of desire whatsoever cannot grant the ultimate mukti. So here Baba is explaining the final state. Any thinking, any thought will not help. And there he is saying that aim we have to practice day by day, not expecting anything like that. So the one is the means, and this is almost the end. This is a good question actually, and brother can explain more about that. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts? So I will give a simple answer, Sister Kalyani. I hope it makes sense. So for example, I want to pursue a degree in chemistry, master's, and do PhD. When I go for my admission into the program, they will ask me, do you know chemistry? Okay. So you need to have some basic understanding of chemistry to get into the program. Chemistry. Do you know everything about chemistry? You don't know. So it's the same thing. Even to get into the program of sadhana or bhakti, we have to have some prerequisites, which is, I think, Brother Dasan nicely explained. So the thing is, we need to know what are the things which we have to start cultivating, even to get into the program. So we should be able to demonstrate that we have some mastery over these aspects if we want to get into the program. That is why Swami has said sailing on desires, as Brother Dasan nicely said. Because sailing on desires slowly develops the quality of vairagya in us. So Swami, in the previous, I think a few slides ago, we talked about viveka, vichara. Swami is saying not everyone will be able to do vichara. But the thing is, we should start practicing little bit of vichara to get into the program of vichara. So even as, that is why Swami is laying out all this to answer Sister's question. As Sister Anandi mentioned that. Because Swami says these are things which you should start working on. If you don't know the ABCD, we cannot admit you in the class. So Swami is telling, okay, now the admission is open. I am open the course. Work on this and then come. Then when I will look at you, you will get admitted, so you can become more well-versed. You'll become perfect. See, Swami also used the word complete jnana, sampurna jnana. That means complete jnana. So jnana is a process. But without any knowledge, if we get into the program, we will not go anywhere. So we have to cultivate everything in at least small quantities, small measures to get into the program. But when you are in the program, at the end of it, that becomes your degree also. You get that. So this is my understanding. So I thought I would just share. I hope that clarifies why is Swami saying in the beginning also and at the end also. So I thought that's Sai.
So, Sairam, brother, I can say something about my experience. So I started to follow Swami in 2006, so get some knowledge. 2008, I went to Puttaparthi. I stayed for 25 days. Then I saw Swami morning and evening. Most of the time I sit front row. But my mind was disturbed. So looking at all kind of things, doubts and everything. So I have a little bit of knowledge, but I'm not I couldn't concentrate, Swami. Then when I came back here, I'm not following the spiritual things. I give up everything. Even I'm give up going to Sai Center too. The reason I don't have enough knowledge. So that knowledge is supposed to be important before you practicing something. Then only it will clear your doubts. You can have faith and devotion. You can build up the faith and devotion. The knowledge is very, very important. Viveka is very, very important to detach the detachment too. That is my understanding, brother. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. So if everyone is okay, we can.
Brother Sairam, just can you explain one more time the Swami's explanation on the first question part, the last sentence again, please? This attachment damages the bliss of Jivana Mukti, and Jnana is the most important for Mukti again, please.
Yes, the thing is, so from this we can realize that even a person who has almost reached, that's the stage of full liberation, there can be traps, there can be holes, or hurdles. The person may trip and fall. That's what Swami is referring to. Actually, in this regard, Swami has told a nice story about a prophet. Apparently, a prophet was teaching all his students, and he was liberated, and he was on his deathbed. When he was on his deathbed, all his disciples were coming and they were crying and saying, "If you leave, who will look after us? You should stay." All that they were telling. And when that was going on, this teacher was opening his mouth and trying to say something. And the disciples were trying to understand what is he saying, and they couldn't figure out. So they were desperate to hear what the teacher was trying to say, and they couldn't hear. So after a lot of struggle, apparently they gave some water or something, the guru was able to speak, and they heard him speak. So apparently he said, "Look here, I have been pretty okay in trying to overcome this shaitan, this devil, till today. And even now on my deathbed, the devil is attacking me from your own mouths, because you all are saying, you are so, without you we can't live and all that." He says, "I was trying to tell you, until the last breath is there, this temptation can always trip somebody. So I am telling myself, let this also not trip me. Okay, you cannot fool me." I was trying to tell. And then he breathed his last. So he was telling that the teacher was trying to explain to the disciples, be vigilant until your last moment. Until your last breath, be vigilant, because if you think, "Oh, I am the body, I am the one who is helping them," then everything is lost. So that becomes attachment to the body. The person identifies with the body. So Swami has given this story. So the jnani is aware that even if he lets that attachment, even that small identification with the body come in the way, it takes away the full bliss of liberation. Because you are again limited by the body. Then as soon as you think, "I am this body, because of me only people are all getting help," then you are attached to the body. Then you are again born. Okay. So that is what Swami is telling. So if a jnani gives up that full state of liberation, because again he attaches to the body, that because of the body, then he will say, "Oh, if I go, what will happen to all these people? Oh, they are all my disciples." Again, he has come down, he has fallen. So then again, he will have to take a next birth. That's one sankalpa. Even if the sankalpa was good, I had to help all these people. If anyone thought that, they had to again and again be born, until all the people to whom this person is attached is liberated. But it will never happen, because when the teacher is also is identifying with the body, how can the students not identify with the body? So it's a cycle. So that is, so even there, even a small, even if it's it's a good thing, attachment to the body is bad. Attachment to the body is bad. So it may be a slight digression, but I thought, because we are talking about this, see, in the Buddhist religion, there is this concept. The Buddha says, even though I have attained nirvana, I will not leave until everyone is liberated. This is a very good belief in Buddhism. That thought, if anyone has, that means they identify with the body. You are identifying with the body, because the body is not needed for liberation. Okay, so that is a binding. Even until that thought is also overcome, which is that thought actually attaches a person to the body. So if you have to even break that, is the belief, but that's what I understand, because even then that is so, the person is not completely liberated. Even if that thought exists, I am this guru, I am in this body, and this body is needed for the others to get help, then the person is not fully liberated. So this is my understanding. I thought I would just share. I hope, sister, I didn't confuse you.
No, thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, Swami says that if you are doing the good karma or bad karma, that do it on God's name. When you are doing the karmas on God's name, it won't affect you. You don't have to worry about the comeback again to fulfill that desires. No, that the old desires to be good, give to God. Then you will be free from everything. That's why I'm saying that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
Sai Ram, brother Arun. So, in a practical sense, to practice vairagya with detachment, mankind, we human being, if we do that prerequisite, I decided I want to take that course and I want to practice that, I might face some sorrows, challenges, which I might consider, oh, there are lots of challenges. So in that journey, I should do introspection. Hey, am I getting attached to certain things? Do I need to detach? So we should welcome those challenges which are teaching us to practice detachment. Is it?
Yes, sister. Yes. That's why Swami has told Vichara, Jnana, all that. Exactly. Exactly. That is the whole idea. Sairam. That's my understanding, Sai.
So welcome challenges and sorrows because they are just for us to pass the exams and move on further and progress.
Yes. Yes.
Sairam, can I add something? So if we look at it in Tamil, most of us will understand this better. Vairakyam is pattinmai or detachment. So there's a Tirukural, Pattuga pattattan patnai appattai, Pattuga pattu vidatku. So we should always have the attachment to God and nothing else. That's the only attachment we should be aiming at, only godly attachment. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Okay, we will proceed to the next slide, sister.
Bhakta, then where does bhakti come in? Swami, we have come to the very beginning again. Earlier than jnana, it is in the form of bhakti. Earlier than bhakti, it is in the form of anurakti, affection. All these are one. Anurakti is the flower. Bhakti is the fruit. It is ripe as jnanam. Vairagyam is the sweet, juicy final stage. Without one, you cannot have the next. In order to tend the fruit until the juice and taste are developed, you must practice daily prayer, etc., mentioned above. But from the first, have in view the oneness of all. Understand that there is no other.
Thank you very much, sister. I think most of them are reasonably clear, I guess. I will just comment on the last two sentences in the translation. The translation can be a bit confusing. Swami is talking about this path of sadhana. He says everything is one stage of development. Don't think that they are separate and different. They are not one from the other. One evolves, is the fruit is the one which becomes the unripe fruit. The unripe fruit slowly becomes a fruit, and then at the end it becomes juicy fruit. Are they all the same? They are all same. The fruit is not different from the flower. The fruit is a final culmination of the flower. So we should understand there is no other path to God. Actually, all of them are intertwined. They're all related. They are the same thing which develops into something else. Like if I am a child, I was a toddler and I was a child, I was a young boy, and now I'm older. it's the same person. Yes, there are different forms. So it's the same way. So the thing is, I think it also means that we should not look at somebody else who is a flower and see, why are you a flower? You know, that flower one day will become unripe fruit. You know, so it is also for our understanding, and you know, so that we are not impatient. Also, you see, a flower takes time to become a ripe fruit. So it takes. Then we will also be able to look at others, and we will not be agitated too much. I think those are my own impressions. So I thought I would just comment on those two. I will open it up for discussion or share. Anyone want to share your thoughts or your impressions?
Sairam, when you look at the Swami's answer in the second sentence, earlier than bhakti, it is in the form of anurakti, affection. Then Swami goes on to say that the anurakti, bhakti, jnanam, vairakyam in the different process, but all are same. What is the difference between the affection and the bhakti if I take it as devotion? What is the subtle or in the difference between the anurakti stage and the bhakti stage? Because this is the first time I heard about the anurakti. So if you explain a little bit about the anurakti stage, I don't know, the affection, I thought up until now it's a worldly affection, Iradi. I don't know anything about in the spirituality, the word affection comes into, but here I understand that anurakti means affection. So always I thought the affection, the worldly affection is equivalent to devotion in the spiritual parlance. So that's why I wanted to have the difference between the affection and the bhakti in this context. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister. Anyone would like to share your thoughts, please, about Sai?
Sairam, I think the only one thing I can say, the affection or anuragdi is with selfishness, loving God with selfishness, and bhakti in the real sense is love God for love's sake. That's a thought I came. Maybe someone can correct it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to comment on this, please?
Brother, you were talking this one, the last I said the anurakti word. Actually, I never heard that word, but Baba was speaking about affection and affinity, and that is, I was thinking that get attracted towards Lord. Seeing Sai Baba, naturally, we will get attracted. His splendor, walk, gesture, but it cannot bring the devotion as it is. The devotion, of course, when we put the real sadhana and there will be no jealousy at all, no, in devotion. So in anurakti state, it could be, oh, he is talking to them and he is not talking to me, and there could be a jealousy and something like that. That word I was affinity and affection. That's how I understood in different places. But please explain to me also the anurakti word.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else would like to comment on this? No one. Okay. So I mean, I will try. Okay. I guess everyone in this the search circle is all I think all married people. So I will give a example which people may understand. When someone is very young, you know, they think everyone is getting married. Everyone has a partner. So people start looking around. Okay, so and say, okay, I like this person. You know, somebody may like the looks, somebody may like the nose, somebody may like the eyes, or somebody may like the way they dress, or whatever. something brings some attraction. Once that attraction develops, we will try to develop an affection. Then we will think we love this person. If anyone asks, they will say, I love you. Every youngster, adolescent will tell somebody else, I love. The person thinks they understand the word which they are using, which I love. But the reality is, it is just affection, because they don't know ABCD of love. Why they like the person is, they think they will get something from that person. Okay, if if I marry someone, there may be money, there may be position. People may think, oh, this person is so, he got married to this, some, the way the world looks at you, all sorts of things, or even something which we desire, we think that person can offer. So it all becomes affection, because in Anurakti stage, we are all about ourselves. What is in it for me? Okay, that state is affection. So what happens? This is the way we interact with everyone in this world. What is in it for me? So what we do, even with God, we think, oh, this person maybe is better candidate. Whatever I want, maybe he will supply. So, we go to God also the same way. Because we are really interested in worldly thing. Swami says, some people come and say, Swami, I am your devotee. I want this promotion. And they will pray. Swami says, the fellow is not my devotee. He is actually a devotee of the promotion. His devotion is for the promotion. Then some devotees come and tell me, Swami, I love you. I am your devotee. I need a son. Swami says, the fellow is not my devotee. He is devotee of the son. Somebody wants a job. Okay. And they will say, Swami, I am your devotee. I want that job. Because the mind is really on the job. He says that fellow is a devotee of the job. But all of them come to Swami because they think they can get it from him. That stage is Anurakti. We need to recognize, at least we are going. So it's the same thing in a marriage situation. They think, oh, I love you, you love you, both of them tell, and then they get married. Then the problem starts. Whatever the expectations will never be met. So then there is struggle, this and that. Through that process, we understand one day what is love. Hopefully, if everything goes well, one day we will become mature enough to understand love does not mean whatever I thought was important at that time. It is not about what I get. It is about having a fulfilling relationship. It is not the pleasures of life. Out of them, both of them are healing. Then you understand there are higher qualities which have to come, will be demonstrated by each party for that relationship to be considered love. When we are dying also, we will have the same problem. So the thing is, our understanding changes. So what we call bhakti generally, I'm just talking about myself. We want something in this world. Even a problem to go away is something. And then we run to God and says, God, I am your devotee. Please help me. He will say, if you really want, you should want me. You want my love. You should not be caring about the world at all. So what most people who come to Swami says, that is why Swami says, I'm still waiting for a bhakta. A bhakta is only interested in the love of God. That love doesn't necessarily mean translate into material welfare, physical welfare, or anything. That is real bhakti. But we all say, we have devotion for Swami. It is just like an adolescent youngster telling another youngster, I love you, without having any clue what it means, thinking that infatuation which they have is love. The infatuation is based on some selfish desires. This is the world. So it's okay to have anurakti towards God. All worldly attachment is anurakti. But if we develop that anurakti towards God, that slowly can be turned into bhakti at some point. when we become totally selfless. We just want the love of God. We just want to see Him. We want to just remember Him. Just be happy that we know Him. To come to that state, only then we can say we have devotion. But Anurakti, we have some tinges of bhakti. That is my understanding. So either I will share that because it's like, if an adolescent is telling, I love you, and if a mature one says, you don't know what is love, the person will get offended. They will even think, my love is not like yours. I know love. That's what all the youngsters think. So it's the same way we will say, Swami, we have devotion. You don't even know. But just give us this in one thing, and then we will, that transaction is there. So this is the way our relationship with God is. Until that relationship changes, we cannot really call ourselves devotees. So this is my understanding. I hope I didn't confuse too much. Sister Ananthi, I tried to explain as to the best of my ability, my limited understanding side.
It's a really good explanation. I really loved it, the way you explained. Now I never ever forget that the meaning of anurakti. Thank you, Saira.
Saira. Okay, but Sitaram has put a comment because bhaj comes from the word bhaj. Bhaj means to serve the Lord. Bhaj sevayam, as Swami would say. Swami uses the word called koluvu. For the bhakti, Swami uses the word koluvu, which is you should become a servant of the Lord. Koluvu means there's a king in a court, and everyone who goes and serves the king in some capacity is devoted to that king. So we should approach God as if we are there to serve Him. You're not expecting anything. Serva means not expecting a return. The opportunity to serve the Lord itself is its own reward. So I thought I would just thank you, Brother Sitaram. I didn't want to get into too much detail into. So it is servitude. That's what he has said. Yeah. So we should go to the court of the king is the Lord. I've gone there and I need an employment. Whatever job He gives, I should do. And that state of mind is called devotion. Sai.
But Sairam brother, as Swami said, it has to start from Anurakti, then it will develop as Bhakti. So without Anurakti, I don't think you can develop Bhakti.
Yes, that is true.
Thank you, Saira.
You can't get married to someone unless you start the courtship. Okay, so it's all it's part of the Sai.
So, Sairam brother, so I like the thing, the middle part, right as Jnanam and Vairakyam is a sweet, juicy. So that Vairakyam, if you take a snake, it will remove the skin. Then once it is removed the skin, it doesn't care about that one. So in order to, we can learn so many things about the detachment. Even if we learn, it's very difficult to give up. That only way we can give up is a daily prayer, bhakti and devotion and faith. Once you follow Swami's path, it will remove by automatically without knowing you. This is my understanding also, brother. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother.
Sairam, brother. So the last two sentences. So in order to tend the fruit until the use and taste are developed, you must practice daily prayer, etc., as mentioned above. But from the first, I don't know, from the start, I think, first have in view the oneness of all. Understand that there is no other. So here Baba is now putting a bomb like, no? So Baba wants us to know this one basic Atma in everybody. Many times he was telling about that. No, I think from first, is it from the start in the Telugu? From the beginning itself, I think we have to have that. There's no other. Only one Atma exists, and it exists. It lives in everybody and mind. So that Advaitic principle has to be kept in mind when we do the daily sadhana. It looks like that. Can you please explain more about that?
Okay.
Sairam. Yeah, what Brother Shoda said, even I thought of it. It's Swami has been telling you until you come to that stage where to practice daily prayer, all that. But from the first, you must have this. You must understand this concept of oneness, and there is no other. That is for an average devotee like us. It's way beyond our comprehension even, but that is because Swami says that an avatar like him, at least on faith we can accept, and as Swami said, we can do our practice at our sadhana, but this one is not in our experience, or not, it's difficult to practice even, but at least we can accept because Swami says that, and that is a big help, Sairam.
Okay. So Swami has not used the word from the beginning. I will just read, I think, Sitaram, if you can read the Telugu version, it will be good, but if he is unable to...
I can read.
Read from Antavaraku, A Bhakti Anu Kayam Kapadukonu.
Okay, from there, brother. Okay. అంతవరకు ఆ భక్తి అను కాయను కాపాడుకుని విధానమే పైన చెప్పిన ప్రార్థనా సాధనలు. అయితే అంతా ఒక్కటే, వేరు లేదను భావమును మాత్రము దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకొనవలెను, వేరే లేదని మెలంగవలెను.
Can you just translate it, please?
అంతవరకు ఆ భక్తి అను కాయను కాపాడుకును విధానమే పైన చెప్పిన ప్రార్థనా సాధనలు. That means antavaraku means until that stage where all this is happening. ఆ భక్తి అను కాయను కాపాడుకును విధానమే, the way you protect the feeling of bhakti, which is here explained as kaya,
unripe fruit.
విధానమే పైన చెప్పిన ప్రార్థనా సాధన. So all the sadhanas that are being mentioned, like daily prayers or bhajans or service, everything of this is to protect the feeling called bhakti. అయితే అంతా ఒకటే, however everything is one, Swami is telling. వేరు లేదను భావమును మాత్రము దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకొనవలెను. So this means that you should also remember that there is no different feeling than this. That means all these stages are one. All of them are just different forms of the same thing. వేరే లేదని మెలంగవలెను. You should also behave. మెలంగవలెను means you should behave. Even the action also should be with the same bhava. Sairam.
Thank you. Swami says Drishtilo Pettukolanu means you should never forget it. You should keep it in your mind, your mindset or the view. You should always keep it. And very ledani melangavalanu. So it means you should know for yourself that there's nothing else. This because we are all looking for shortcuts also sometimes, you see. So I think the translation sort of doesn't do full justice to what Swami has said. Swami basically says, always understand there's only one. They're all the same. protect the unripe fruits. It's just like, if a fruit is on the tree, if there are pests, if there is some, bacteria or something is attacking it, so there are pests. So we have to protect it. And that protection process is all our daily regular sadhana, like prarthana, japa, dhyana, all of them actually are protecting this unripe fruit until it becomes fruit. So that's what Swami says. And, on this, because Swami talks about detachment and the final fruit, and there is a very popular mantra called Trayambakam Yajamake. Everyone, Mahe Sugandhi, everyone, before anyone is about to die, they will say, we have to chant this. Because I think the belief is if we chant, the person will suddenly recover and again live. But actually the meaning of the mantra is completely different. Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandana Mrityor Mukshiyam Amrita. Actually, that shloka, that prayer actually describes this. Trayambakam, it has it is threefold. We will say it has three eyes. Yajamahe. Sugandim means it is very sweet smelling. Sugandhi means it's smelling very nicely. That means all the best smell is there. As here Swami says, it's a sweet, juicy fruit. The fruit will smell so nice. Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam means it has all the energy, juice. Okay, Pushti Vardhanam. At that stage, what happens? Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam. Urvarukam iva bandhanat. Urvarukam is the fruit. This I think
cucumber or something.
It is a melon. Okay.
Melon, yeah.
Okay, so what happens is Urvarukam iva bandhanat mrityor means it gets liberated from the attachment. This fruit, this melon, what happens is when it becomes full of sweet smelling, it's sweet smell, and it's full of juice, this juicy fruit, it naturally detaches from the tree. It just by itself. So we are actually praying to the Lord, oh Lord, let us also detach ourselves from this body. Mrityoho Mukshiya, from the death, let us liberate ourselves by becoming this ripe fruit, this sweet smelling. That means all good qualities should be welling in us. People should be able to smell. That is the Sugandhim. That means all good vasanas. Good vasanas means all sattvic vasanas should develop. And then Pushti Vardhana means we should become a sweet, juicy fruit. People should be able to eat and enjoy. That kind of, we are giving the others help. Pushti Vardhanam means you can distribute health and strength. Pushti Vardhanam, Urva, that kind of Urvarukam. How it detaches itself from the tree. Like that, we should also detach ourselves from this bondage of attachment in this world. So actually this mantra prepares the person who is about to leave the body, mature. We pray to the Lord, let me mature. Let me become that sweet, ripe fruit and just detach without any cause, giving joy to everyone. So that is the meaning of that mantra, but people willy-nilly chant everywhere. I don't think they understand the meaning of the mantra. It basically explains this, what Swami just explained. So I thought I would just mention that because I think everyone knows the Trayambaka mantra. So Saira.
Brother, in Tamil that is called Vallaripalam, no? Vallaripalam.
Yes.
So the Vallaripalam is on the same ground as the creeper.
Yes.
It's not hanging, no? So naturally,
it just detaches itself.
Huh?
It just detaches itself.
Yeah.
It's not the gravity pulling it down.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the important thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Many people get detached because the death pulls them away.
Yeah.
We should not go like that. We should be in the same state. Maturity.
Yeah, we are very true there because people don't understand. They just, if anybody is sick, they go and chant this one, no? Yeah. They in anticipation that this person will come up. like that.
It's like chanting Gayatri in the, when somebody is dying, chanting Trayambakam without understanding the meaning. They'll say it's very powerful. Mantra is very powerful. Chant it more times. The person will come back to life. Actually, they don't know. They are praying, let this person go.
Yeah, that's the meaning. Yeah. The irony of that, actually.
That's irony, but I think God purposely, at least through that, the people who are chanting, maybe they will develop some vairagya. That is the best which can happen. Sai, I thought I will mention it because this is important. Everything Swami has told in Sandeha Nivarini is actually a mantra. He has explained to us in very simple language. None of these examples are just just thought out. They are all embedded in Upanishads and Vedas, and Swami has distilled and given it to us in very very simple words, so we can understand.
So, Sairam brother, it's a good Shastra also say the sloka that whatever you mention, that is a reason study circle is important to understand the meaning and why we had to say that. Even that reading the book Rama Vijaya and Gita, those books has to be read at the last stage. In order to, while you are reading, the person can, the ear is the one, the last stage I think can senses will work, then he can hear that one. But if you don't practice before, that whatever you chant and everything going to be wasted too. Thank you, Sairam brother.
Sairam.
I think the time is up, brother. So that there's no Advaita principle here in this paragraph, as brother Sitaram and you explained. I don't know how this sentence came here. No?
Which one?
In the very last one.
Yeah, I understand. It's very unfortunate. See, what has happened to many of Swami's Vahinis and so on. Originally, Professor Kasturi translated them. He retained many of the Sanskrit words and so on. But then what has happened is people have come, and said, oh, this cannot be understood by common man. And then they started translating it again. This is translation from English to another version of English. So you can imagine, see, if some of you may be wondering why I am so particular about going to the Telugu and understanding, because through these multiple translations, sometimes the original message is completely lost. We have to actually, as devotees, that is something which is I'm very passionate about. Hopefully one day we can do it. To bring back to the glory of Swami's original message. Because some of this actually, if you go to the Sathya Sai books and publications, just the online versions, there has been a very concerted effort by many people, especially from the West, to remove every Sanskrit word from the Sathya Sai speaks. And they are trying to rewrite the Vahinis. So this kind of problem is going on. But we cannot stop or change others, but at least we can study the original from Swami's words. So that is one reason we are trying to follow the Telugu as much as possible to clarify any confusion which may arise when we. So you are right. This is not talking about Advaita, but the way if somebody reads it, they will think it's Advaita.
Yeah.
Maybe so people may get confused. Why is suddenly from all this we are talking about an Advaita philosophy? In some way, it is Advaita only. But Swami is saying the entire path is same. Anurakti, Bhakti, Jnanam, Vairagyam, it's all same. It's one, but it looks many different.
Yeah.
From that perspective, it's Advaita. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, Sairam. I hope that's okay. I think it's time up.
Sairam.
Sairam.
Sairam. Yeah, can we stop this kind of translation kind of thing people do? It's confused in us. Now, in going to be future also, we never know. When we are not here, the people will translate more like that, and the Swami's teaching is going to be destroyed. Can we stop this point? We can write or something and tell them something like that, not to do that. Use the Sanskrit word.
Sister,
Maybe you have the power.
no, it's not power. Swami is the power. The thing is, I have written to the Books and Publications Trust. I have spoken to Radio Sai. I'm in touch with people there. I involved in a few projects, but it's very difficult unless the person who is looking after is looking after with full knowledge of what they are looking after. This kind of problems will come. But my view is the service which each of us can do. Swami will say, you read. So I came to the realization at some point. I said, we should not expect somebody else to solve the problem. We should become the problem. We could be solution. As Mahatma Gandhi said, you become the change. So if we as a group become that change, slowly the world will. It's nothing about power, I think, because the world will go on the way they go on. But I think each of us can contribute. The fact that all of you are coming here and taking part in the study circle itself is a promising thing. If a few of us understand, that's more than enough. If one person understands, Swami says, I'm just looking for one person. Okay. And the thing is, the reality is, I also understand that if any individual in this world is very sincere in their seeking, Swami himself will come and teach them again, clarify the problem. So we should have faith in that. We should have faith in Swami, is my personal view. I know it's easy to say, we have to change the world. It is an impossible task. Very impossible task. You sometimes get bad name. To be frank, I volunteered to take up this project and take it forward, and it went up to the Central Trust. It was discussed, and the word came back, this person doesn't know Telugu, is he an English scholar? So we will wait for some scholars to come and translate. So it is not that I have avoided this, but that's life. It's okay. Then we go back to what we have to do, which is we ourselves have to read regularly, make effort to learn. See, because Swami has provided us all the resources. Like, can you believe that in our study circle, every study circle, now we have a person who knows Telugu, who is able to read the Telugu, and we have the Vahinis in Telugu. Brother Sitaram came here a couple of years ago, and fortunately I had collected the Telugu Vahinis, so I was able to give him. So which is reading and he's taking part. So nothing is by accident. Nothing is, and if you go to Sunday, there is Auntie Manibhashyam is there. So I think these are all blessings from Swami telling, if you need, I will send you the help. I will send you the resources. I think our study circle itself is a proof that it is so. Even though I have tried to learn Telugu, it's very, very slow and it's a very elementary understanding. So I was praying to Swami, I'm struggling with this, Now we have a study circle session, and so we will translate here and we will understand. And once we understand, slowly the world will change, is my belief. But we will still continue to effect some change in the translation, but we will see. Thank you very much, sister.
Thank you, brother, and thank you, brother Sitaram and Mani Aunty. God give us, lots of wealth in that. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, sister Sai Ram. This itself is a proof that Swami is looking after us. And that's all I can say.
Yes, Swami says, if you take one step forward to me, I will take 100 steps.
Exactly.
Don't forget.
Sai Ram. Okay, we will close the study circle. I think it is a lot of time, 1.5 hours. Sorry about it. Thank you very much, and we will close with Samasta Loka and Shanti Shanti. Sai. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Yeah.
Sai Ram.